When I have a big decision to make, or if I'm going into something that's scaring me, something big's happening, I invite my soul council to meet with me. Sometimes I set out chairs and then I see who shows up.
Hey everyone, and welcome. I am Morgan Gis McDonald, founder CEO of Paper Raven Books, and I have with us today a super special guest. She is the author of Spirit Embraced, a guiding memoir for a life authentic and free. So, if you love memoir, if you love transformation and living into your soul's deeper purpose, this is going to be the conversation for you. And I have with us author and spirit doula, Kim Colella. Kim, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Morgan.
I am so excited to talk about your book with you because you are taking us on a true journey inside of Spirit Embraced. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the different sections that we get to go through with you inside of this book?
Absolutely. So, Spirit Embraced has 4 sections. The first one is called Release, and it really chronicles um, the things I need to let go of to create the life I really want. And some of those are difficult situations from childhood. So that part is a little difficult for people sometimes because it does chronicle some painful memories from my past. And then the tools of transformation I use to let those go. The second part of the book is called Listen. And it chronicles my desire to really listen to the urgings of my spirit. When I was 30, I decided to travel by myself to Calcutta, India to meet Mother Theresa. And so it talks about that journey, which makes me cry every time I think about it. So I did get to meet her, and some of the stories of that meeting are so incredible. And I, I just love sharing them. And then the third section is called Manifest. And that's about bringing those deepest desires of our heart into fruition. And it chronicles a very fun story of going to see the Oprah Winfrey show in Chicago with my best friend after a very difficult year. And my desire to go to more than one show, which they won't give you tickets to, but ending up going to a second show and being interviewed by Oprah for just a minute and a half. And then on the way home, meeting a woman who takes women to South Africa to study the AIDS pandemic. This was in 2004. And I found myself saying, well, I could find 10 women to go on that. And she hadn't even invited me to go. And so my journey to South Africa to study the AIDS pandemic with some of my closest girlfriends. The last section is called Tend. And that is a very poignant section for me because it's really about when we create those things in our life that are our deepest desires. I believe that's the voice of spirit within us. And when we create those things, not to rush to the next big thing, which I think as a culture, we are encouraged to just keep trying to achieve something bigger and better. But for me, it's really important to stop and nourish and enjoy what we've created. And so that section really chronicles my marriage and becoming a parent and creating a home that was so different than the home I grew up in and the gifts of that. Each section has a piece of, it has a story. So every chapter has a story that's then followed by a tool of transformation that I use to shift the paradigm so that I could create that different kind of life. And then that's followed by a soul psalm, which is a piece of writing from my journals of when I asked for guidance, what I heard back.
I love how intentionally you've really woven all of these things together to really create an experience, for the reader. And I guess I'm curious, Kim, like, what do you hope that a reader maybe comes to understand about themselves or the universe or spirit when they read this book?
Um, I hope they come to trust that deep voice within themselves. Because most often I find that it leads me to really preposterous things, like getting on a plane and going to Calcutta, right? Or, you know, getting tickets to Oprah and ending up in South Africa, right? It's that voice within us, the still small voice. Like, I hope that they learn to both hear it, because it's not the clamoring voices of our culture, of TV, media. It's that still quiet voice within. And so I hope that they come to trust that voice and follow it more than they already do. And the tools of transformation that I have collected, I've collected them over 35 years by studying with people who I believe to be masters in their field, whether that was psychology or quantum physics or spirituality. So it was through working with them that I collected these experiences that I use, some of them daily, some of them more than once a day, and then some every 6 months or so.
Could you give us an example of one of the tools? What's one that you find yourself using?
Well, I'll tell you one that people have liked a lot,
Yeah.
and that's my soul console. And so Jean Houston, who is considered the grandmother of the humanistic psychology movement, I believe it was her who first introduced me to this concept, and then I built on it. But when I have a big decision to make, or if I'm going into something that's scaring me, something big's happening, I invite my soul council to meet with me. Sometimes I set out chairs and then I see who shows up. So the first time I did this, I think I set out 6 or 7, and this is described in the book. And Jesus showed up, Mother Theresa showed up, an Egyptian, the Egyptian god that's part cat, part human was there. Alethea, speaker of truth, was there. The surprising one was Princess Diana was there. It was like, what are you doing here? So it's a kind of a playful, creative, meditative process. I have my journal in front of me. I've written out the questions, my name, who's all here, and then I start asking them the questions, and then I don't edit. And Mary Magdalene was there too, but everyone who was there had a very different voice. And when I asked Princess Diana, "Why are you here?" What I heard, what I wrote was, "I'm here to remind you of your softness." That she was the voice of softness. And so as I would ask the question, and then I would just look at each chair as if there was somebody, that person was sitting there, and wrote what I'd hear their voice say to me. So I've had a lot of people say, "I'm using your soul council idea. I really am enjoying it." Other things are more simple, like writing with my dreams or meditations that I do.
I love that. I love the soul council. I'm absolutely gonna use that. And
Yeah,
it's just, as you said, it's fun, it's playful, and maybe we are channeling something, and maybe we're practicing taking on different perspectives, right? Whatever is happening, it's going to be helpful, and as long as we keep it lighthearted, also fun.
yeah. And I would say that I get very clear direction. And I think whether it's a spiritual or a psychological thing that's happening, I'm kind of person who's like, I don't need to know. I just know it works. But I will say that I get really, really clear answers.
I love that.
And I write in the book about deciding to write the book. I think that's the thing. And it was like there they were 100% in agreement. And I had never written anything like a book before. So it was a huge step to say, wow. And they challenged me on moving beyond my fear and it was just this clear, I think it bypasses the ego and just gets us into the truth.
Wow, I love that. I love that so much. Who do you feel like you kind of wrote this book for? I mean, before we hit record, we were sort of chatting, and you did mention your kids, your son, and do you want to tell us a little bit about kind of how the book came to be?
Sure. So in 2017, we were looking at, well, actually, it was about 2016, we were looking at colleges. And as we were looking at colleges, I began to reflect and ask the question, what am I going to do with the space that will open up when Sam is gone and I'm no longer momming, right? And the answer I got back was right. And my response was no. and, and it just would not stop. And so finally one day I said, what am I supposed to write about? And what I heard was write the stories that long to be told. And I was like, well, I can do that. It was just like, oh, okay. And then as I do, I negotiated with Spirit and I said, I will do this, but I want to wait until October of 2017 when Sam has left and I've had a month to readjust, and then I'll start writing. And the really wonderful thing about that was in May of 2017, I got a letter, an email from a cousin that I communicate with a couple times a year. She had no idea I had this goal. And she said, I'm going to be flying to Minnesota, where we're from, in October for my mom's 100th birthday. My home and car here in Santa Fe will be free if you'd like to come down and use it. And I was like, I'm there. And my husband was like, I get to go too, right? And I was like, nope. One of my friends asked the same question. Nope, this is my time to write and to be alone. And I wrote the first section of the book that week that I was down there.
I love it. It's a perfect example of the whole spirit embrace,
Yeah.
listening to spirit and letting things magically work out for you or mystically work out for you or miraculously work out for you. I mean, yeah, the whole book is full of these kinds of moments. And for those of you who are here with us, watching, listening, if you're loving this and you're like, this is exactly the kind of book that I'm interested in, the good news is that Spirit Embrace is on a special promotion right now. You can actually go grab the ebook today. So you can just go to paperravenbooks.com/spirit embraced, all one word. And that'll take you straight over to Amazon. You'll see that ebook is on promotion. You can go ahead and hit download, load it up on your Kindle or Kindle app, have it ready for the weekend. And we'd encourage you to go ahead and do that today. If you have friends who are interested in these kinds of conversations about letting your life be led by spirit and divine sort of movement and things like transformational tools, we would encourage you to tag them or send them this post so that they can also grab this book while it's on promotion. We're getting it out to as many people as possible today. So yes, paperravenbooks.com/spirit embraced, or click the link next to this video. And Kim, so I guess one of the other questions I had for you is a little bit more about like the idea of a spirit doula. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your perspective on why you use the term spirit doula?
Well, for those of you who don't know what a doula is, a birth doula is somebody who's there to mother the mother through their birth. They're not the doctor or midwife. They're not doing that stuff. They're there to love them, witness them, give them ideas of, different exercises. And I have been at over 20 some births and been the doula. And I've also been a death doula for people who are dying. I really love being with people as they are going through big transitions. And I've had a healing practice for 36 years now. I started as a massage therapist, but then one client asked me one time if I would be her coach, kind of her life coach. And I said yes. And then that became more and more part of my practice. And just this year, I let go of massage totally, and I'm only doing coaching and doula work and writing. So my goal as a spirit doula is to help people fully embody their spirit to bring their spirit home to their bodies. Often in our culture, we're up here, and there's all this, but we're most powerful when we can bring our spirit home to our body. So my goal is to help people embody themselves and bring their spirit more fully into the world to be the light that they're called to be.
So good. So good. And I mean, your book is a fantastic experience of exactly that work, getting to be in these sort of memoir moments with you, but also the transformational tools and self-reflection moments of like, how can this change my life? I mean, yeah, you're a spirit doula through the book as well as your work with individuals. So that's phenomenal. Is there anything else that you would like readers to know before they kind of dive into your book?
Well, one of the two things that there have been two things that have been very humbling with my book. One is to hear how it has impacted others. And secondly, because I went into this not seeing myself as an author and having to really step into that, it was incredibly humbling when Spirit Embraced received a Nautilus Award in 2019, and it won the American Book Fest Award just this past November. And both times I just wept because I knew my friends and family would love the book, but to have that kind of recognition from a larger body has been inspiring. It's encouraging me to start thinking about my next book and project. So,
Absolutely. I'm wondering, Kim, what do you think it is about the world right now that is so like primed and ready for this kind of message? Do you think there's something that Spirit Embraced is really speaking to in the world right now?
I do. I think the last 2.5 years, 3 years, right? It's been a time of great upheaval, not only globally and nationally, but individually. I don't know anybody who hasn't gone through big stuff the last 3 years, right? Making big shifts, questioning their work. So I think that this book is a perfect book for this time because people are trying to figure out, how do they want to live their lives? We all had death put right before us, right? And that causes us to then look at, well, my life is finite. How do I want to live it? And how do I do that? So I'm hoping that my book, Spirit Embrace, will give people tools to listen more deeply and to have the courage to follow, and that it'll be a guide and support for them during this time of great change.
Oh, that's perfect. Folks, if this is you, if you're like, that's exactly the type of book that I want to read, grab it right now. Go to paperravenbooks.com/spirit embraced, all one word. Click the link next to this video. That will also take you right over to Amazon. You can grab the ebook on promotion right now and share it with any friends who you think would also be encouraged by this book, Spirit Embraced. Kim, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for sharing your book and your message and your presence. I mean, you just have this amazing sense about you that like, I just feel like everything's going to be okay somehow. So thank you for giving us this time and conversation with you today.
Thank you so much, Morgan.
Y'all have a lovely rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. And grab Spirit Embraced right now while you're thinking about it. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.